Hello, everyone. Welcome to Econ 202 Macroeconomics. This video is just to be an introduction to the class to help go over some of the main points of the syllabus. Macroeconomics, what is it, right? Macroeconomics deals with large scale or general economic factors such as the interest rate or national productivity or the unemployment rate or the price level, right? Microeconomics deals with individuals making decisions. Macroeconomics is the aggregate outcomes, right? So microeconomics might deal with what price does a business sell something at. Macroeconomics is what is the general price level, right? Microeconomics might deal with should I hire somebody? Macroeconomics is how many people are going to be hired? What's the unemployment rate? So macroeconomics, these big aggregate outcomes, it has a lot to do with public policy, the role of the government in taxes, fiscal stimulus, the Federal Reserve setting the interest rate, and so on. So at the moment, it's, a lot of debates on should we send out, $2,000 checks for pandemic relief, and a lot of these others, should we extend unemployment insurance, right? These are macroeconomic questions that, it's very relevant for the current debates and discussions going on. So the structure of this class is going to, this semester is going to be unusual in that it is mostly online, it is mostly asynchronous. Keep in mind, though, that it is a full 3-credit class, right? Any 3-credit class, you should expect to put 4 to 5 hours of work a week into the class. Now, we're going to be mostly asynchronous. It was the exception that we're going to have a Zoom meeting every other Wednesday. Now, that doesn't mean that, right, that's 1 hour every other week, right? That's a small fraction of the total work that you're putting this. I'm just emphasizing this because the previous semester with things going online, that sometimes we get students that think, oh, it's all online, I can do it whenever, I can take an extra class, I can do, extra hours at work. And I've gotten feedback from students from previous semesters that the way I set this up, the class, does allow to make it easier to fit into the schedule, that I break everything up into small chunks, but you still got to put that amount of hours of work in, right? So don't try to take on too much of taking on another extra class or, doing extra work. You still are going to have 4 to 5 hours of work that you're going to have to expect to do each week for this class. So exactly how this is going to work, right? Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll have multiple videos for you to watch. These videos are going to be 3 to 15 minutes long. I try to keep them short. I know it's hard to stay focused with a long video, so I try to keep them short. There'll be multiple videos. In total, you should expect about half an hour to 40 minutes of these videos per day. Try to keep it less than 40 minutes per day. Again, can only watch so much videos at a time. After each one of those videos, there'll be a handful of questions about the material in the video, right? Sometimes it's just a, simple check, did you watch the video? Did you understand what was being said, right? It helps that, sometimes we watch a video and it's kind of on, but our mind is elsewhere, right? The videos might help, let you know, oh, I need to go back and watch that again. Sometimes the questions are harder. Sometimes the questions aren't just, did you watch it, but really applying the ideas, using concepts, doing calculations on your own. Some of the questions are more difficult, right? All of the video questions, right? We have a Zoom meeting every other Wednesday. When we have that Zoom meeting, all of the video questions up until that date are due at that Zoom meeting, right? You're going to have some video questions, on a Wednesday when you have a Zoom. Those aren't due that day. That's for the next Zoom call, right? But all the ones that are assigned a date prior to that Zoom call are due on the date of that Zoom call. And we do that so that when we have that Zoom call, everybody's on the same page. They're going to have a specific date, right, on the Moodle page when it lists the videos, a specific date saying this is the video for this date, but you don't have to do it that exact date, right? You have some flexibility on when exactly you do it, but you have to do it before that next Zoom call. Okay. Midterm tests will largely be similar to the video questions. So the bulk of the questions for the midterm, I'm going to be more or less taking straight from the questions that you did for the video questions. I'm going to add some open-ended questions, right? So those video questions are important not only for their impact directly on your grade, but they really do a great job of preparing you for the midterm. Generally what I've found the previous, 2 semesters where I've done the class this style is the students that are getting all the video questions done, they tend to get midterm and final grades that is in the 90s, right? You do those video questions, you're well prepared for the final. Okay. Other things that we're doing in this class, other parts where your grade come from. I'm just going to briefly go over these, and each one of these I'll have a separate video later. We have Benedictine reflection responses, BLS and Fed reports, and we have a book report. Just give a little bit more detail on each one of these, right? The Benedictine reflections responses, if you've had me in any other class, you're familiar with these. I do this in all of my classes, that we want to tie, right, that we got to remember our values, right? We're a Benedictine Catholic institution. Economists have this bad reputation of all being about money, profit maximization, utility maximization, selfish, so on. We want to remember our values when we're thinking about the class material, right? So throughout the semester, there's going to be 3 forums for having the discussion on how Benedictine values relate to the course content. And it allows at least 2 of those 3 forums, you to write a reflection on how the values relate to the course content, right? So you write a reflection. These reflections are, 2 to 4 paragraphs is a good reflection, right? And it's not long. And then you'll also, in that forum, write a response to another student's reflection in that forum. Again, I'll give you more details on this in a later video, but just know that that's one of the things that your grade's going to be coming from. The BLS reports, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, each of the first Friday of every month, they put out an employment situation report. And as we go through the semester, when those come out, you're going to be looking at those and you're going to write a response about what was said in that report, right? So this semester, they come out February 5th, March 5th, and April 2nd. So the next Monday after when those reports come out, you're going to have a 1.5 to 2 page essay explaining or analyzing the reports, right? Again, I'll give more details on this in a later video. Okay, then we have the Federal Reserve meeting, right? The Federal Reserve is going to meet 3 times through the semester. The first one, January 26th or 27th, that's too soon. You don't know anything about the Federal Reserve yet. I'm not going to ask you to write anything about that meeting. But then on the March 16th and the 17th, and then April 27th and the 28th, those 2 meetings, you're going to, again, write a response after that meeting. So again, short, 1.5, 2 to page, double-spaced report. What happened in the meetings? What did they decide? You can tell me if you think they made good decisions or not. Again, I'll give you more details on this in a later video. And then the last thing, you're going to choose a book to write a book report. The book, or at least your book report, needs to be focusing on macroeconomics, right? So find a book on macroeconomics of your choosing. I'm going to have a sheet up on Moodle of a list of books that I think are good possibilities for you to choose for writing about. You're going to read it on your own. You're going to give me throughout the chapters, twice that I ask you to give me some chapter outlines, so I kind of know that you are reading the book and thinking about it. I'll have another video again to help give more explanations about this. The first thing that's going to be due is you submitting to me the title of what book you plan to read. That's due by February 12th. So plenty of time to think about it. Again, I'll have a sheet at the top of Moodle of some possible ideas. You don't have to use those ideas. You could come up with your own. I've had some students that have suggested sci-fi books, Le Guin's The Dispossessed and some other sci-fi book. And someone's done The Grapes of Wrath before. And those fiction books it's more difficult to tie to macroeconomics in a book that is just like we're talking about macroeconomics. But if you want to be creative, you can try to do that. Again, submit it to me. You might want to do a direct email to get my feedback for me to tell you if I think it's a good idea. It has to be that when you do your book report, that book report is really focused on the macroeconomics. So if your book isn't directly about macroeconomics, that becomes a lot harder to do. But some students, try to be creative and daring and try to do that. To summarize, where is your grade coming from? Those video questions, and we'll occasionally have some other homeworks. That's 30% of your grade. Midterm is 15%. Reflection responses, that's worth 5% of your grade. We have the BLS and the Fed reports. All those combined, those 5 reports between those 2 categories. Those add up to 15 points, so each one's worth 3% of your grade. The book report and the chapter outlines that go into that book report, those are worth 5% of your grade. Your final is worth 20% of your grade. And then lastly, participation is worth 10% of your grade. That participation is participation in the Zoom lectures, discussions that we have on Zoom. It's also that we're going to have forums on Moodle for students to ask questions about the course material, about the video questions, so on. And asking those questions, answering those questions, right? That's a good way of showing participation, right? Somebody asks a question about a video question, it's okay to give the answer, right? To just help them not be stuck. I want you guys to help each other. What's more impressive to me is when you don't just give the answer, but give an explanation of why that is the answer, right? That's a really help your fellow students understand the material. That's a great way to get participation. Okay, so this is it for this video of us just quickly going through the main points of what are you doing in this class. Oh, if you have questions, again, there's going to be a forum at the top of Moodle of questions about the mechanics of the class. You can ask questions there. You can send me an email if your question is about like your grade or you specifically, right? Send me an email. If it's about class mechanics, I would appreciate it if instead of sending me an email, you put it on that forum so that other students can see the answer. And if you want to have office hours, my office hours are going to be online via Zoom this semester. I will have a link on Moodle to a sign up page where you can sign up for slots to talk to me on Moodle for office hours. So again, you have 3 different ways there of contacting me, asking questions: the forum, email, or the office hour. So if you have any questions, right, use one of those 3 methods to get your questions answered. Good luck on this semester. Hope you have fun with this class.